Smith and Payne passed away last week, and their names were Jim and Jane. We spoke not long ago, and I will never forget when Jim told me how him and Jane met. Told me there was no prettier sight, walking in the city on a holiday night, radio playing Amazing Grace, lights glowing on her face. They were the old couple down the street on the corner of Smith and Payne, and their names were Jim and Jane. While she was getting ready and combing her hair in a packed restaurant full of chattering lips, he was waiting tables and collecting tips. Her friend picked her up in her old beater car as they drove in the city, passing shops and bars. While sitting inside, her eyes met his, and they locked as if they'd forgot what time is. The snowflakes hovered, frozen in the air, as he grinned at her in an awkward stare. And he dropped the dishes that he was carrying, and they shattered to pieces as she was laughing. Was embarrassed with all the people around. He went to take her order with his eyes to the ground. She was a student at the university. He was waiting tables to pay for his electricity. She smiled at him before he found his words, asked for 2 drinks and said, "Thank you, sir." And as she was leaving, he said, "I didn't get your name." She turned around and she said it was Jane. And then they walked through the snowy city. There was music playing with all the lights glowing pretty. They fell in love to the point of going insane, and their hearts were pounding like slamming rain. Well, they took the road trip, driving along the ocean, overtaken with a whirlwind of emotion. She asked to stop as they passed an empty beach, and he slammed on the brakes, and they parked in the street, and they ran to the water, kicking sand beneath their feet, and there was no one around in the August heat. He had a ring, and as the sun began to set, "Will you marry me, Jane?" was all that Jim said. He told me there was no prettier sight in the city on a holiday night, radio playing Amazing Grace, lights glowing on her face. They were the old couple down the street on the corner of Smith and Payne, and their names were Jim and Jane. On a late November, autumn Saturday, they were making dinner while the children played in the brown piles in their fenced backyard, behind a 2-story house with a dog on guard. And at the dinner table, before they began to eat, they said their prayers to the God that they believed. In rows of houses and freshly cut lawns and smoothly paved streets, people walked their dogs on. And time went by fast. The kids were out of the house. As Jim and Jane got older, it got harder to go out. Walking in the neighborhood, holding hands with another, her one hand in his and her cane in the other. In a quiet room, she was laying on a bed, and someone had their hand on her hot forehead. And Jim was silent, stared uneasily at Jane, hoping the nurse could relieve her pain. He was there all day, he was there all night, as she grew thinner and her face more white. He was standing over her and said, "I love you." She appeared to be sleeping, but said she loved him too. And some days later, Jim and Jane did part, and he soon fell ill of a broken heart. And it was not long before he's with her again, and that house on the corner belonged to their children. I remember how they walked down our street every morning, and everybody who met them said how much they'd adored them. They left flowers on the porch when your family passed away, put a card in the mailbox for your kid's birthday. They smiled at you when you passed them on the street, and everyone in town said their pleasure to meet. And I couldn't believe they were together for so long. For 82 years they lived in a love song. He told me there was no prettier sight in the city on a holiday night. Radio playing Amazing Grace, the lights were glowing on her face. They were the old couple down the street on